Hello, everyone. My name is Jairus Copeland. Welcome to In Need of Attention. We're going to jump right in. As we get started, I want to kind of lay the foundation. This is a safe space. We believe there's more for anyone who is listening. We believe anyone who's listening can be better. And I hope you are too, am stubborn in my belief that there's more perspective to gain. Today, I'm going to go into something that I recently went through with my sister-in-law, where we talked about how she could have a conflict conversation. So we were on the phone and she was saying how she was kind of having a situation going on and she wanted to clear the air with the person and she wanted to have a conflict conversation. And so I kind of walked her through like 5 steps. I literally sent her a note. Here are the 5 things you need to do in this conversation to not just resolve this conflict, but like on the end of it, both of you feel like reconnected, reconciled, right? And I thought, you know what? That'd be a good podcast episode. I should just talk about that. So I've got the 5 steps here. I'll be looking at that as I go. I've got my Fear God shirt on. If you're watching, 2 buttons, not 3. It's new for me, but people always ask why I don't button my shirt. Would a unicorn wear a hat? Really think about that. Coolest tattoo I have. Just saying. Nevertheless, I digress. We're talking about conflict conversations. It can be the hardest thing, one of the biggest tensions. I know literally sitting here as I'm thinking about this, I can think of legitimately 3 or 4 conflict conversations I am actively avoiding. And I'm avoiding them because I don't want to either A, cause more conflict, B, alert that there is conflict, or C, disappoint people, not please them, right? People pleasing is a real thing. I don't want people to be mad at me. I want people to like me. I don't want more problems. I want more peace, right? My dog's name is Mo. He's Mo Peace. And some days he's Mo Problems, okay? Right now he's Mo Stitches because he just had surgery. So my sweet little boy is doing better, I promise. Nevertheless, we're talking about conflict conversations, and how to have them. And so in this situation, it was relational. So it'll have some undertones to that, but this will go for any, I would say, conflict you have at work, in your family, relationally, any situation. And the undertones of this are informed by the faith I have. For me, I'm a Christian and I try to, when necessary, reconnect where it's worth it and where it's not, forgive and not forget, but allow myself to understand the value of conflict in the situation that it was. And I got a friend named Jenna, shout out Jenna and David, who blew my mind in this conversation. This had to have been almost 2 years ago now, where she said, "Yeah, I try to make conflict casual. Like, hey, you hurt my feelings, you offended me, you whatever, but it's not this big blow up. It's a conversation, and there can be stakes and things attached and affiliated with different conflicts. That is called being human. Some things are just bigger deals than other. If you kill someone I know, we're gonna have a bigger problem than if you I was gonna say cut me off in traffic, but I feel pretty passionate about that also. Uh, if you, I don't know, cut me off in line at the store, because I'm in the self-checkout line anyway, so it's really not gonna happen. Bad example, guys. We're rolling with it though. Conflict conversations, first step. First step to do in any conflict conversation, I would say, is to state the pressure and stakes that you've placed and feel on the situation. So starting things off with, before you tell them anything that, hey, you've done this, you've done that, you've done the third, all of that, start with yourself. Hey, I'm feeling this way. This situation makes me feel anxious. And I'm so anxious, my stomach hurts. And I feel like the silence we're having, I can't tell if it's that you don't know this is going on or that you just don't care. But where I'm at right now is I am sweating bullets and I feel horrible about this situation, about this action, about this thing you did to me, about this thing I did to you. That's where I'm starting out at. And I think the value for most people in that is they have a hard time communicating their feelings and the physical manifestation of those things to other people because A, they don't know how to, or B, they don't think that's what matters in the situation. And the reason it matters is because you wouldn't be having the conversation if the action that occurred or the offense against you did make you feel this way, right? If someone you don't know and you don't care about does something, it doesn't affect you. If someone you care about or someone you love hurts you, it means something. And all you're doing is communicating the meaning to them from the very beginning. That's step number one. Step number two, establish a baseline foundation for conversation. What does that mean? That means you say something along the lines of, hey, I feel like I'm kind of on eggshells, right? I don't feel like I can say the right thing. I'm really worried about setting you off. I've been the person who feels on eggshells, like I can't engage, like I can't confront, like I can't say what I really think. I've also been the person who people are going like, yeah, man, like it's palpable. Like whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, like it is, everyone can tell. Everyone can feel it. I remember being at work and I value my sensitivity and my emotion. And on one end, you know, certainty and the way I can identify and know, hey, this is how I feel. And on the other end, the rawness of a moment. And I remember it was probably 5 years ago. We were in a team meeting and we were reading this book as a team on racism and the history of it in America and all these different things. And at the time, growing theme, different boss, but I was having some conflict with a boss of mine. And we had left a conversation or a situation that I was just pissed. And immediately following this conversation or this situation, I don't even remember what it was. We went into a team meeting about racism in America. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like scoffing. I'm this, I'm that. It's like my silence is communicating way more than anything I would actually say in that moment. And following that meeting, we talked again. And she's just like, I mean, it was uncomfortable to be around you. It was uncomfortable to be sitting there as a team because we all know something is happening, something is going on, but we don't know A, what it is, or B, how to acknowledge it because we don't know where we're going to get back from you. And in that situation, I was someone who people didn't feel like they could approach. So there was never going to be any reconnection. There was never going to be an opportunity to resolve the conflict that was at hand. And if you find yourself in a situation getting defensive, you find yourself in a situation pointing the finger back when someone presents something to you, maybe, just maybe, it might be an instance where they are mustering up the strength and the courage to confront you in an area and on a topic that is really sensitive to them, that really means something to them. And as they communicate how they feel, and as they communicate what has happened, it's not your job to tell them they're wrong. It's your job to listen. It's your job to ingest, to hear what they have to say, take it for what it's worth, and respond out of that place. And if you want to have healthy conflict and you want to have productive, meaningful conversations with people you care about, love, or have to work with, listening is one of the biggest tools and biggest things that goes undermined and valued within relationship. I try to be a great listener. I try to value listening to other people, whether it's a crazy person on the street, whether it's some random person or someone I've known my entire life. One thing that I hold dearly and would want people to reflect if they were to describe me or talk about me to another person is that, man, he really does listen though. He really does consider. He really does think about what I'm saying. Because I do. I care enough about every person to hear them out. And I care enough to consider their perspective and where they're coming from. And the first step of being stubborn and believing there's more perspective is listening. You gotta listen. I can't have a conversation without listening. I can't form an opinion without listening. I can't take an action without listening first. And the best actions, the most successful people, the most talked about legacies all started with people who ask questions, with people who listen, And action is amazing and you need to take action. I need to take more, I promise. But uninformed action is more damage than it is good. And so listen before you speak, listen before you act. And you might find that that intention transforms the way you have relationships, the way you conduct business, the way you have success, the way you handle conflict. And the casual nature of conversation allows safety for people. It creates a safe space. And when someone genuinely feels like no matter what they're saying to you, it could be that they're upset about something on Instagram, all the way to, hey, why would you do this to me? Listening to them goes a really long way in healing and helping them, whether the relationship continues, stops, is never the same, is better than ever. Listening is a huge deal. Those are the first steps. Step number 3 is this: deal with the impact of your response, not the intention of your actions, right? So if you've ever been in an argument, you've ever been in a moment with a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, and they say, you're making this about you. That is, the alarm bell should go off, ringing the tornado warning sound, right? To signal to you that they are trying to talk about the intention of something versus the impact of it. And so a lot of people, you will say, hey, when you did this, it really hurt my feelings. When you said that, it was really mean. I don't know why you would say something like that. And they'll say, oh, well, I wasn't trying to do that. I was blah, 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 blah. They're trying to talk about their intention versus their impact. And this isn't a new thought. This isn't a new thing, but it's necessary within conflict to go, hey, yeah, I did mess up. And while I wasn't trying to, I can recognize that the impact of my actions led to you feeling these ways, led to you having to deal with these consequences that weren't yours, led to you having to go through these things versus what I intended. And I'm sorry. That's a really easy way to apologize within conflict, whether you think you're right or wrong, is to go, well, regardless of what I was trying to do or what I thought was happening, clearly the impact I had was way different than my intention. I'm really sorry that happened. I can't control now the aftermath of that to the degree you're describing, but moving forward, I can acknowledge that and do my best not to let it happen again. I'm really sorry that, I was trying to do this. This is the outcome. And I've had so many conflict conversations. I think about my sister, Micaiah, who's recently on the podcast. I frustrate her to no end, and I am so sorry. And I've said things, I've done things, joking, passively, not thinking, that really upset her and hurt her feelings. And she came to me, whether it be weeks later, months later, days later, whatever it is, and said, hey, you really hurt my feelings. And I've had responses all the way from like, what are you talking about? To like, really? And I think it's frustrating to her outside of what I'd done to her because it was wrong of what I said or did. Because I just go like, I'm so sorry. You're the last person I'd want to like hurt. You know me better than anybody on the earth. You've helped raise me. You've encouraged me. You've been there for me. You've supported me. And I hope I've been able to do just a fraction of that for you. And clearly in this area, what I said or what I did was not that. And I didn't protect you. I didn't comfort you. I didn't encourage you. I did the opposite. And that wasn't what I was trying to do or say, but clearly that is what I did and said. And so I'm sorry. And it doesn't matter if your perception's off. It doesn't matter if your perspective is right, wrong, and different. What you're telling me is that I hurt you. And that's the last thing I want. I love you. I'm sorry. And if there's anything I can do moving forward to fix that or change that, I would love to. Your relationship matters more than being right in the situation. And her response is just like, well, um, I wanted to tell you more of what you did wrong. And I'm like, go for it. I'll listen to you. And it's really hard because then we're like, okay, well, we're good. We're fine. And not everything goes that way. Not everything is that simple, but that's just an example of having conflict and being able to acknowledge like, yeah, I'm not living the same way everyone else is. Clearly, other people aren't living the same way I am. If they did, they wouldn't cut me off in traffic, and they wouldn't say certain things, and they would be able to have more deeper conversations than just small talk. Those are just simple things that irritate me, right? Those are intrinsic to who I am. And we all have things that are intrinsic to us that irritate us when other people either don't do them, do the opposite, or compromise them. They don't acknowledge them, they don't engage with them. And they're just little things that over time can build resentment, or within a relationship can just cause natural disconnects, right? A lot of conflict isn't that you're this horrible person. We just are disconnected on something, right? There's a dual connection, two different connections, not one, right? And in order to reconnect, we have to get on the same page. We have to be facing the same way, right? We have to have the same input in order to have the same output. Step number 4. I should probably hold my phone instead of setting it down because I keep dropping it, keep losing my spot. Step number 4, acknowledge the personal action that got prioritized over the intimacy that was agreed upon. And so the conflict typically will stem from a place that, hey, we agreed upon this thing in our relationship, and you prioritize something over that. It could be, hey, we said you'd be home by this time. You were an hour and a half past that without communicating. I don't feel like I can trust you when you do that. Why would you prioritize that over what we agreed upon? And that conversation then is a matter of, hey, we had this common ground, this common foundation that feels like no matter what, we know this will be maintained. This will be something that we commit to. And you compromise that for your own personal either gain, experience, or pleasure. Why did you do that? And anyone who's coming from that place is justified, right? It could be as simple as, hey, you came home later than you said you would. Just let me know. To, hey, you cheated on me. Why would you do that? And any request in that manner is justified in explanation, is justified in trying to move towards a solution. And what I would say to someone who is going through any version of their intimacy being compromised or having compromised that intimacy is that not only is listening imperative, not only is owning up to the impact of your actions imperative, but making genuine change to what you do moving forward is imperative if you want to reconnect, if you want to resolve conflict. The reality is, you can apologize and take ownership. And if you just keep doing the same old thing, eventually that person's going to learn that, hey, this isn't just a one off, this is a habit, right? This is a problem, right? And this is something that's going to continue. And they're going to make a decision based off if they can live with or deal with that behavior continuing. For a lot of people, they choose not to, right? Divorce higher than ever. Breakups happen every day. People are leaving jobs quicker and faster because they're seeing patterns of behavior that they're going, you know what? I think I can find better. I think I can do more. I think that something else is out there for me. There's more options. And in a day of more options, the people who are willing to change, the people who are willing to reinvent, innovate, and grow are the people who last. The people who are able to not just sustain success, but redefine it, right? Like over time, they don't just have the one thing, but then they do a new thing. And then after that, they do a new thing. They're not afraid of doing something new again because they've lived that pattern. They know something has to change. We see that in business. We see that in art. We see that in innovation, right? It's this idea that like stagnation, the status quo, ultimately is going to hold you back. And within conflict, the thing that will hold you back is not on the end of it changing your actions, changing the way you went into something. Your intention can be right. Your impact needs to change, right? And if you're unwilling and unwavering and stubborn in your belief that what you did is right, acceptable, and fine, then you're going to continue to have the unhealthy and toxic experiences and outputs that you experience. But if you make a change, you internally shift, your paradigm changes, and you decide to change on the end of offending and hurting other people in an effort to build more intimacy and connection with others, you'll experience the fruit of that. You'll experience deeper connections, richer connections. All of this stuff is intrinsic to growth, right? I'm doing this coaching thing, and that's what it is, right? It's helping people identify their own unique rhythm and flow and connection and communication and creativity. Why? So that they can grow, right? Those things have to change internally so that they can see what they are believing for externally, right? People don't have the power they're searching for, but what they don't know is they do have access to it. People are more disconnected than they've ever been, but they live in a time where clear intention, clear impact will deliver them the connection they desperately are searching for. And people are believing more and more that they're less creative, that they're not creative. And they don't see that the nuance and the approach that they bring to the table and their own area of genius is creative in its own right, that they're creators in their own right, in a 9 to 5, in their marriage, as a parent. And for anyone who's dealing in this conflict and they're dealing with this damaged connection, they're dealing with their inability to communicate, and they're dealing with not knowing a solution to move forward with. Engaging in conflict in this way, the ownership, the accountability, the listening, all of this stuff, the acknowledgement, the agreed upon foundation, and the change behavior off of that are things that will change the way they interact within relationship. The fifth and the final step, this feels like a quick one. The fifth and the final step is communicate how the situation highlights or confirms the lies and fears you believe for yourself in your relationship. So for me, one of my deep rooted seated issues is I'm always afraid that I'm going to be left, that people are going to leave, that the only value I have to give people is what I can do for them. And so if I'm not doing for them, they'll find someone who will. If I'm not delivering, they'll find someone who will. And that's only been reiterated professionally, relationally, within my family dynamic. And that's been shaped by a number of things. This isn't my therapy, so I won't go into all of it right now. But that time example is a real thing. I've told my wife before, hey, uh, I don't care that you're out late. I don't care that you're going to have fun. But when you don't communicate that you're going to be out later than you said, or you don't communicate where you're going, what you're doing, the anxiety I have is that you're looking or finding something to replace me, or that you're not going to come back. And as unfounded as that is, as much as you have done nothing to communicate that or to show that that's who you are and what you would do, I have a lot of experience that would suggest that that's the case. And so that little text you send of, hey, I'll be running a little late. Hey, I'm going to be staying out later. No need to wait up. Love you, whatever, does more for me than anything. And communicating that to her changed the way she communicated with me and saved us a lot of arguments and issues. She communicated to me, hey, when you engage in these behaviors, when you do these things, it diminishes the intimacy we have. And it makes me feel this way because of this experience I've had. And it compromises our relationship. And knowing that allows me to make an informed decision. It allows me to know that, hey, if I take this, I'm choosing to have less intimacy with my wife. And that is the one person I want to have the most intimacy with. That's the one person I want to be connected to more than anybody. It's an easy decision not to do this. And these steps, these things are suggestions and ways, more than anything, just not to lose the focus of conversation when you're going through conflict. Because the worst thing is going into a conflict conversation and either leaving it going, they didn't solve anything, or leaving it going, I don't feel like I actually was able to communicate how I'm actually feeling. I don't think I was actually able to communicate to them what's actually going on here. And it's not the end all be all. If not all of that happens, it's not the end all be all. if coming out of that conversation, everything isn't resolved, right? I think the freedom I would give someone is like, listen, uh, forgiveness and acceptance is imperative and necessary, but reconnection and reconciliation isn't required. In fact, I'd say uh, it's not reconciliation isn't necessary if it's just going to reopen a wound. And the offended party in the situation is well within their right to decide that based on this, they don't need to reconnect with you. And to free someone up out there, you don't have to go into every conflict to the degree that, oh, on the end of it, we're going to be best friends again. We're going to be together again. We're going to work together passionately. No, you can set boundaries and you can go, hey, this just isn't acceptable for me. Um, and I think this is either A, when it run its course, or B, something we're just going to have to work through over time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Not every relationship is meant to be reconnected, but every conflict is meant to be internally resolved and given forgiveness. And out of that place, you have to accept it to be able to move forward. And so, for the person out there who is afraid of a conversation like I am right now, for the person out there who struggles to communicate their emotions with clarity or how they're feeling, or for the person who struggles with in conflict to keep track of their thoughts or feel like someone's communicating at them or against them saying, you're making this about you or that's not what we're talking about. It's like, well, no, that's the impact of these actions and these things. Any of those struggles, just know on the end of it, an outcome that could happen is this relationship doesn't continue, and that's okay. On the flip side, an outcome of the situation is this relationship will continue, reconnection will happen, and reconciliation is possible too. And I want anyone going through those things to know it's worth the conversation. The tension is hard, but the pain is momentary. And the only way to go through it is to go through it. You can't go around it. And so I hope some of this was helpful. I hope it was encouraging. If you want to hear more, listen to some other pods, watch on YouTube. You can visit my website, jairuscopeland.com, for more about me. If you're interested in coaching with me, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to help you in this area as well. And thanks so much for listening. This has been an episode of In Need of Attention. See you next time.